Say hey, Yellow Jacket football fans. Welcome to In the Press Box with Calhoun High School's head football coach, Coach Clay Stevenson. And Coach Clay, it's been a while since we've gotten together. We've celebrated a holiday, and now the off season is just ramped up like the regular season. Nice seeing you again.
That's right. It's been it has been a few weeks.
Yes,
it feels like longer than the 3 or 4 weeks that it's been. But I got a lot done in that period of time. So looking forward. We got a couple more weeks of school, and then looking into 2024.
Yeah, it gets here really quick. Football season, as we have found out for high school coaches, is a 11.5-month job.
Yeah,
I mean it's year round. We do get a excuse me. We do get a week or two off in July during the dead period, but it's pretty much the planning and the forecasting for the future just never stops, does it?
Yeah, it does. It doesn't matter if you win, lose, draw. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you win the state championship or not, or whenever you finish. You take a couple of days and you start looking forward to that next season, and that's kind of where we are. We've been these last few weeks, and for the kids, it never stops as well. That after our last game, that Monday workout was probably one of the best ones we've had in several months. So they keep working and keep trying to improve to get ready for next year.
Yes, it's football has become a year-round sport because of the preparation in the off season is as important as the regular season itself. Speaking of the regular season, we talked at the beginning of the last year. This region was going to be a Donnybrook, and boy, was this region tough this year.
Yeah, it was. We talked all year about there's 5 good teams, and one of them is going to be at home during the playoffs, and unfortunately, that's the way it turned out for us. But it was, you look at it, and I don't want to take anything away from the senior class, even though unfortunately it ended the way it did. But you look back at their 4 years, and they took 5A head on, and look at their 4-year career, and they had 2 quarterfinals appearances, had a state championship runner-up, had a region championship. So they did a lot of great things on and off the field to keep the program going where it's going and keep it improving. So very proud of those guys. It does stink that their season ended shorter than they'd wanted and we'd wanted. So but I do want to make sure I express to them how much they did for Calhoun football. They're the only program, only class that went through 5A all 4 years.
Yes.
Went through COVID and just had a lot of hiccups along the way. But what they gave to our program and the blood, sweat, and tears, we truly appreciate it.
And one of the things is easily forgotten, and it's not forgotten, but we did go through COVID. We went through a COVID year, and that was an experience that nobody has had. And for them to be involved all 4 years of their high school career in 5A, where we were competing against teams that were schools that were much larger than us and actual physical bodies, having access to actual bodies, it was a heck of an accomplishment. So job well done for everybody that was involved in that.
Yeah, no doubt. Super proud of those guys, and like I said, they did a lot of great things during their 4 years and got to experience a lot of a lot of different things. We played how many ever teams that we never played before in the history of Calhoun football.
Right.
It was just a new experience every week, I felt like, and they handled it very well.
Yeah. So I don't want to put the emphasis on this senior year. I know we put a lot of emphasis on in college and high school on their senior year, but there are a lot of good memories. The road trips to Ware County 2 years in a row, and it was on a likelihood this year, depending upon how the draw went and how the playoffs played out, that we'd be making a 3rd consecutive trip down there. The state championship game down in Atlanta, a rainy day in the old baseball stadium. Just a lot of good memories to hang on to.
Oh, there's no doubt, and you look at the sub-varsity level as well. Those guys played some great teams with we played Buford and Walton and all the private schools in the area. So it was a good experience for all those guys for the last 4 years. Like I said, of just doing new things that we never done before, never had to do before, and they handled themselves, like I said, extremely well through that. So I'm super proud of them.
Yeah, the pipeline's full. I mean, the pipeline the experience that they've gotten in the last 2 or 3 years in particular of playing these different schools, just getting them onto the schedule because folks, when Coach Clay calls and says, well, yeah, we're a 5A school, well, he might want to play a school that's a lot closer by, and it might be more of a victory situation instead of just going up against a really tough team. They're not too interested in scheduling you, are they?
Yeah, no, scheduling's tough for middle school all the way up to.
Yes, that's what I mean for the pipeline.
This senior class was the first true ninth grade schedule back 4 years ago that we started, and we've been playing 6 or 7 ninth grade and JV games per year the last several years. So it's like I said, very proud of what they did and what they went through and got us through to the other side.
So there's a lot of accolades to be handed out. The region was all-region team was mentioned, and we had a lot of players on this all-region team.
Yeah, we did. I can't remember how many, but it was one of those deals that you go in, and the way that it works is all the coaches get together and you kind of nominate kids, and you get a chance to go around the table and kind of make your plea for your guy to get whatever it is, and then we end up at the end, voting on it, and whoever is the top voters is gets on the team.
Yeah, one of the things that I want people to realize with this region, there are a lot of Power 5 1A kids graduating out of this region. We go back to the Hiram victory, and they were just loaded with 1A people. In fact, the University of Southern California came across the country, the entire continent of the country, to get a tight end / wide receiver. So for us to get the accolades that you're going to mention here, the guys to get those accolades is a heck of an accomplishment.
Yeah, no doubt. It was like you said, the region was loaded. And, and it was every week kind of seeing who, what Power 5 coach would be there watching, or what players would be playing against. But I'll try to list them right here if we can. I hope we don't leave any out because there's a lot of them. If I do, I do apologize.
Yeah.
But Offensive Player of the Year was Imari Winston, and very, very deserving of the award. And it was I think he was a unanimous vote for amongst the coaches. The first team offense, we had Trey Townsend and Caden Williams. Second team offense, we had Justin Beasley and Christian Bell. And then honorable mention was Thomas Wells. And I think that wrapped up the offensive side. And the defense, first team defense, we had Christian Gregory, Christian Smith, Isaac Green, and Cohen Chadwick.
On the first team.
First team. Second team defense, we had Sager Quinn, Alec Upshaw, McCaden Griffin. Honorable mention defense, we had Bryant Arnold, Jacob Schuler, and honorable mention special teams was Carlos Lopez. So, that is a huge honor, like you said, in the region that we were in, and playing the caliber of players we had to have that many recognized between the coaches of the region was a huge honor.
I'm going to start at the bottom and work up a little bit. A couple comments. Carlos Lopez, Carlito. Have we seen, when's the last time we saw better kicking in the region? And our kicker is really good, and he's just honorable mention.
Yeah, but he did a great job of,
yes.
The kickoffs, the placing where they want to, and he was very solid. After Sergio went down, he had to take over all the roles, and he did a great job.
Yeah, just fantastic. And as you work through the honorable mentions and the second teams and the first teams, for Imari Winston to get Offensive Player of the Year in this region is a big compliment, because we can go up and down. We can look at the Cartersvilles, the Hirams, the Casses. They've got Power 5 commitments, 3- and 4-star and 5-star kids. It's just an amazing. That's quite an accolade.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. You have to do so much game planning to know where he is and try to stop him. That every coach had great things to say about him.
Yeah, Caden and all the other guys. We had an injury at the end of the season with our defensive tackle Christian Gregory, and that kind of changed the complexion of our defense. He was such a vital part of that defense. So congratulations to all the guys.
Yeah, no, very proud of those guys. Like you said, it was in the region we were in, to have that many on the team was an honor for them.
Yeah, heck of an accomplishment. Trey Townsend threw for 2,225 yards, 23 touchdowns, and only 4 picks on the season. Caden Williams led the way with rushing, 1,038 yards and 12 touchdowns. Imari Winston was the leading receiver with 59 receptions, 956 yards, and 13 TDs. We had a lot of guys in supporting roles, but those are just the leaders in those particular categories. Outstanding performance by the pound and shoot offense as well as the black shirt defense.
Yeah, they did, and the stat that's not on there is, I think it's the least amount of turnovers we've had. I don't think Caden had a fumble all year. Trey had limited number of interceptions, and had a couple of fumbles from receivers. But ball security is always a huge component of that, and very proud of their stats, but also of protecting the football.
Exactly. We did have a big plus turnover margin, and like you said, very few offensive turnovers, and the defense was able to get a bunch of them. One of the guys that you mentioned there, Christian Bell, was just one of the leaders on the offensive line and on the team, wasn't he, with his work ethic?
Yeah, it was. He's a 3-year starter for us. Unfortunately, he got hurt in our 8th game this year, and he got missed the last 2, which tore him up. He was doing everything he could do to get back out there, but he gave a lot to this program, and very, very proud of his last 3 years, and then off the field he's 3.9, 4.0, and that's the other thing that gets missed this year's class. I was just meeting with a college coach earlier, and it's 3.9, 4.0, 3.8, 3.9, 4.0. So it's up and down the list of recruits we have are 3.9, 4.0 students. So very proud of that as well.
I get a kick when I check on Instagram and I'm looking at the kids from other schools that are making commitments, and they always put their academic stats in there as well as their weightlifting and their speed and stuff like that. And I get a kick out of seeing a 3.1, 3.2, and backing up what you say, 3.1, 3.2 is kind of low for Calhoun.
Yeah, it is for this year's class.
For this year's class, right? Yeah, just doing a fantastic job. Black shirt defense, as you mentioned, Christian Bell was kind of the bell cow on that offensive side. Christian Gregory was kind of the table setter for the defensive side, and when he went down, it really changed things that we could do. But Christian Gregory had a heck of a year going until he got injured.
Yeah, there's no doubt he had a super year. He was, finally clicked for him. I think this, preseason he realized how good he could be, and he went out there and showed it. He was very difficult to block. Every coach that we played, wanted to know where 53 was or how he was playing and how they were going to block him, and they had just great things to say about him all year. He was definitely the guy they had to take care of on the defensive side. So yeah, when he got hurt, it was tough, but super proud of his efforts these last few years, and like I said, it finally clicked, and he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, Christian and Caden are both headed off to Liberty University, which had a pretty fantastic year this year, their own season.
Yes, they did. They're
undefeated,
right? Yeah. So those guys are going to go early. I think January the 7th or 10th, somewhere in there, will be their first day on campus. So they're super excited, a little bit nervous, I think, to get up there and get going.
Oh, if they're not a little bit nervous, I'd be shocked. I mean, this is a big step.
No, there's no doubt, and it's fortunate, but it's also unfortunate that they have to miss their second half of their senior year, but it makes up for it getting to go up there and kind of getting a semester under their belt before they really start next year.
Yeah, when everybody realizes when you go off to college, it's an adjustment going from high school to college, and you got to get the academics in line, and you got to learn a new routine. So they're going to be a semester ahead of a lot of people, and that really helps.
Yeah, no doubt that it'll pay dividends in the long run.
And we've got a lot of guys that are going to have the opportunity to play if they want to at the next level. I know I've been reading about Christian Bell, several others that have an opportunity. Brian Arnold's up in my neck of the woods. I saw I got an offer from Wooster College, right. D3 up there in Wooster, Ohio. So yeah, a lot of guys are going to have this opportunity. So we wish them the best, don't we?
Yeah, there are, and it's with the portal stuff the way it is. It opens up next week. It's a shame for some of those guys that they're going to have somewhere to go. But like Trey. Trey's one of the top quarterbacks in the state, and we've got several offers, but we're struggling to get some more, and hopefully they'll come after the portal situation kind of gets under control and see what or gets going, I think you'll have several more offers that pop up.
Yeah, the portal situation has really de-emphasized the importance of a high school senior coming in as a freshman, because a lot of these coaches are looking for an experienced person that's had some college experience. So sometimes it just takes it's a little bit of a long and winding road to end up at the place where you want to be.
Yeah, it is. It's really unfortunate for the high schoolers.
Yes,
They kind of
it is.
get overlooked because, they're if from a coach's standpoint, a college coach's standpoint, if they can take a 22 or 23-year-old and borrow them for a year or two, as opposed to an 18-year-old, it's a no-brainer for them. Unfortunately, it filters down to not as many high school seniors are getting to sign and go play. So I don't know that there's not a great answer to it, but that's where we are right now, and every coach feels the same way. It's just it's tougher for those guys right now, but hopefully we can navigate through it and get everybody that wants to play somewhere to play.
Yeah, it is a very tricky situation, but eventually it'll all work out. And one of the things that really slowed this process down and really encouraged the transfer portal was the COVID year. I mean, there's a lot of 6-year players. There's 6th-year college playing football this season, finishing up, and there's even a couple 7th-year guys.
Yeah, these last 2 years it's been really tough because you had all those guys coming back that got an extra year. So I think this year probably should be the last kind of fallout or holdovers from that. So hopefully next year and moving forward, it'll settle down a little bit. But it's still a concern for high school coaches across the country, really.
As we mentioned earlier, the pipeline's full. We had a freshman team, we had a JV team. We've got a lot of young players that got recognition throughout the region, and we've got some young players coming up. Like we said, the pipeline's looking pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, the middle school didn't lose this year. I don't think they lost last year, so I think they're undefeated in the last 2 years. Our JV in 9th grade has only lost, less than 5 in the last 2 or 3 years. So,
easily.
And they're playing some really good competition. So, you got, like I said, we're losing 15 starters. I told the kids Monday morning, we've got, when you start looking at depth chart, you start taking it off as you do at the end of the year. We've got a lot of holes, a lot of question marks, and a lot of places that guys are gonna have to step up and play. So looking forward to that. And like I told them, it starts in the weight room, and then you look at the board we have when you start racing seniors. There's a lot of questions and a lot of spots, but it also creates a lot of excitement. Like I told them, there's 15 positions that are up for grabs that seniors are graduating. So we're looking forward to, like I said, finishing up these last couple of weeks of school and getting into 2024 and getting ready for the season.
Yeah, and before you know it, the season will be here as quick as a hiccup. As we looking forward to a schedule, we have dropped down to 3A, and we'll get into the ramifications in being 3A after we talk a little bit about the schedule. But how's the scheduling going?
It's going okay. It's tough. We have to find 4 games, which is still tough.
We have a 7-team region.
Yes, so we had 6 region games, which we added. Gilmer added late, so we've got Gilmer, Adairsville, Ridgeland, Northwest Whitfield, Heritage, and Lafayette. Those are the 6 teams plus us, makes 7. So it's a region that we've been in there with some of them, but we've also never played. I don't know if we've ever played Northwest Whitfield in a real game since I've been here. I know I've never played Heritage before.
We're going to get a new scrimmage.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Never played Heritage, never played Gilmer County before. So still got some new things, some new places to go on the schedule, but it's more teams that we're familiar with for the most part in the north part of the state. That's kind of what going down to 3A. Most of the teams are up here in the northwest corner. So, but finding non-region games has been tough, and even the scrimmage, like you said, that's always been a set date that we've had with Northwest Whitfield. So, we're looking right now. We may do a jamboree instead of a scrimmage, possibly with Allatoona and Kennesaw Mountain. Which you all play a half against each other.
Right.
So I think that'll be good for us. And then the non-region schedule, hopefully we'll have that nailed down. They just changed. 5 or 6 teams just kind of got out yesterday which I don't think affected us any, but it may have affected some of the teams that we're looking at playing. So gonna have to get that, hopefully have all that nailed down before we get out for Christmas.
That would be nice if it can come together that quickly.
That's right.
And believe it or not, time moves very quickly. So yeah, 3A, and then once we get through the region schedule, 3A to 1A has a different qualifying system to get to the playoffs. It's not like what we've had in the past. And if you want to explain a little bit of it, or if you can.
We actually had a meeting this morning. Dr. Holly got all the head coaches in and tried to go through what they came up with yesterday. There's a formula basically that they come up with power rankings. But if you win your region, and you'll be a number 1 seed. So there'll be 8 1 seeds, and then if you're second in your region, you'll be a 9 through 16, with the exception of a couple of deals. If private schools win the region, they get bumped out. So private schools are no longer in the playoffs. That you play region with them, and they get bumped out in the playoffs. So anyway, the 1s and 2s are guaranteed a 1 or a 2 seed for the most part, and then I guess that leaves 17 through 32 to be determined at large bids. So I say bids. If you're 3 or 4 in your region, you still automatically go to the playoffs.
Right.
That's one thing that changed yesterday at the meeting. So power rankings come into effect after that. So if you're 3 or 4, then you take all the 3 or 4 seeds and then list them in order of power ranking, and it goes from 17 to 32. And that's kind of how you come up with the bracket. So, and then with the power ranking points, I'm not even going to get into that because it's your winning percentage counts 30%. Your opponent's winning percentage counts 30% or something. They just changed it yesterday. And then the opponent's winning percentage. So I think it may be 35, 35, 30 is the new percentage. So at the end of the day, you just need to go out and try to win. You know, we were trying to look at it to possibly schedule some teams to get a better power ranking, but as I go through the list that we've contacted probably 60 or 70 schools, and we got a list of 5 or 6 that are maybes. So it really, we couldn't determine, or we couldn't, set our schedule based on trying to get a better power ranking. We just had to end up setting it the way we did. So we're going to let all that stuff kind of play out the way it is. We're going to just, take care of business the best we can when we play.
Right, and if you take care of business, obviously taking care of business in your estimation is winning the region, and you're in, so the power ranking doesn't come into play. We used this power ranking, folks, a few years ago, particularly with the 1A area, and when they were doing with some private schools were still playing down there, and the state was trying to iron out exactly how to assess the points and how to value the power ranking. So where this power ranking comes in is coach may call a school and say, hey, would you be interested in playing this? Yeah, I would, but I really need to play this other school to get a better power ranking.
Yeah, so all of the schools smaller than us in this area or just equal to us in this area, it doesn't benefit them to play us, especially when there's so many other teams in this area that they could play. So it that kind of limited who we could schedule as well. So like I said, at the end of the day, we're going to get 10 games and just go out there and play the best we can.
Right. At the end of the day, just it's easy to say, be the number 1 seed in your region, be the number 2 seed in your region, and you don't have to worry about power rankings and be scattered all over the state.
Where the biggest thing may come in is with travel.
Yes.
If let's say Bainbridge is a 1 seed and Ridgeland or Northwest Whitfield happens to get in as the 32 seed, well, that means the first round they're driving down to Bainbridge to play. So that's been a question these last couple of weeks with the reclass committee, and they hadn't come out and quite said if that's how they're going to do it. They may tweak it a little bit differently, but it's like I said, we can leave that up to them, and we'll just go play.
So, folks, as you're looking at region standings throughout the season next year, and you're looking at 3A, and you're looking at the different regions, and you see a private school in there, they will not be in the playoffs.
No.
They took all the private schools out from 3A down to 1A and put them into their own classification for their own playoff system. So it's going to be interesting. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and it doesn't truly affect us too much.
No, it doesn't.
Because there's only 3, I think,
Yes.
private schools in 3A,
Right.
And they're not in our region. But when it gets to the playoffs, it will just be a public school bracket.
It will be nice to get back with the guys into the weight room and doing stuff and kind of get this behind you. It would be great if you could have the schedule set up by the end of this calendar year, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I think we will be able to hopefully get some contracts sent out in the next week or so and get them nailed down.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You got to get that contract in hand. We have, as you mentioned to the players recently, we got a lot of slots that are open. We got a lot of people a lot of young people that are going to be vying for some spots. Fortunately, we have a lot of young people, sophomores and juniors this year that got a lot of playing time, starting time. But we're a couple key positions in everything. We focus so much on the quarterback anymore. Quarterback spot's going to be open.
Yeah, as when you look at, I was actually telling the coach this morning that we lost our center, guard, quarterback, running back, nose, Mike, and free safety. And that's kind of where, when you start building a depth chart, that's where you focus on the most. Everything right there in the middle of the offense and defense. So, those will be our first steps, trying to make sure we get those guys replaced, and we're looking forward to it. When you don't have as many coming back, that adds excitement to the weight room to try to, and that's what I've tried to challenge them to take these next few weeks in the first couple of months of 2024, and what are you going to do to separate yourself from the person you're trying to get the job from. So we're looking forward to the competition that it builds in the weight room, and then moving forward to the workouts we have.
You took the words out of my mouth. There's a lot of internal competition with yourself and with someone else. All right, so we are going to have a football banquet.
Yes, we are. I think February 4th. Still hadn't sent that out because I hadn't 100% nailed it down, but I think it's the Sunday before the Super Bowl is when we generally do it. No NFL going and do it that afternoon. So should be sending that out again in the next week or so once we get 100% nailed down.
Well, seriously, congratulations on a good season. It was a very exciting season. I'm the type of guy that you can't ifs, ands, and buts are, they aren't candy and nuts. So it tough end of the season with some key injuries, but still a good season. So congratulations on a good season.
Yeah, I was super proud of them. We had some really good wins.
Yes.
A couple of really tough losses, and then Cass was just Cass just whooped us. But the other two we were right there in it toward the end and just didn't quite make it. But we did have some really good things happen, and I feel like we got better throughout the year. Just couldn't quite get it done there at the end.
I can think of some plays. I remember the play at Carver right before halftime where we stripped the fumble and turned that game around. The trip down there was nice. It was hot as Hades. I'm hanging my hat on that. I enjoyed the Hiram game because they were just Power 5 D1 recruits all over the field for Hiram and Calhoun. And we broadcast from the storeroom on the lower level of the press box, and we had a big time, and that was a wonderful victory. So overall, I have good memories of the season, and I hope you do too.
Yeah, no doubt. Like you said, it's unfortunate the way it ended, but that's what happens in sports, and we're going to do our best to get out there in 2024 and get back to where we know we can be.
Folks, we really appreciate you listening to the podcast. Don't forget, tune in. You'll get some alerts on Mixler and through the Calhoun Touchdown Club, which is bringing you this In the Press Box interview. And thank you to the Calhoun Touchdown Club because they are my great benefactor.
That's right. There's no doubt. They did a tremendous job this year. They raised a lot of money and did a lot to support the kids, and that's the goal of the Touchdown Club. So very proud of and excited about what's coming in the future.
But we're going to have some more sports for you. Clint Thomas and I will be bringing you some basketball, and that'll be starting here maybe as early as in a couple of weeks as we start bringing you Calhoun boys and girls basketball, because that's going to be an exciting season for them. Once again, Coach, thank you for the time, and congratulations on a good season.
Hey, thanks, Dave.
You've been listening to In the Press Box with head football coach Clay Stevenson.